Says we're live. Hi, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with my friend David Maria. Hi, David.
Hi, Kathy. How are you today?
Wonderful.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So I am very excited to have another conversation with David so that you might see, you meaning you might see how this work could help you reconnect to your soul and really, really feel grounded and excited about your experience here. What David does is he embodies a energy that he's called the Eden template, and we'll be talking about that today. And what he does is take you through a process so you can embody your original blueprint, template, soul energy as well. Correct?
It's not what I call it. It's what it calls itself. That name came through as a transmission.
Okay.
And in its shortest synopsis, I just help people remember who they are.
Right. Right.
And I'm in a new location today for a few days, and the lighting here is not the greatest, so my face is in shadow, but the top of my head is showing a lot of reflections.
Well, grass doesn't grow on a busy street. That's what my dad used to say, because he was more like Bill Spady.
Well, I make up for it in other ways.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So for the people that don't know much about you, I have had the pleasure of having an experience, several experiences with David, where I'm very sensitive, but I could feel everything, and then I was able to, through a meditation, actually reconnect to my essence. Do you want to talk about a little bit about those meditations and what it does?
Absolutely. So the Eden template is it's not something that I can give you. It's something that I can share with you, because really and truly it is your birthright. Every single person on the planet already has this. It's just dormant. So what the Eden template does is it awakens the direct connection that each and every one of us has to Source, to God, to the Creator, whatever word you want to use to describe the magnificence of that being. And it opens up that channel so that the energy can begin to flow through you, to flow up your spine, and open up all of what it does is there's multiple things that are going on when that begins to happen. It begins to align your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies together so that they begin to work as a unified whole in harmony with each other, so that each one reinforces the other or amplifies the other. And the other side of it is that the meditations themselves, of which there are many of them. There's 7 of them now that I'm offering. What they do is the visuals in the meditations, they correspond to neural pathways within us, within our physical bodies, our emotional, our mental, and all of the field energies of our auric fields that in many cases are dormant. And so what it does is it begins to activate those neural pathways. It begins to open them and expand them so that more energy can come through them. And as that energy begins to flow through that, you begin to remember who you are. And the gifts that you came here with, because we all come with gifts, and each one of us has different gifts. So the ones that I carry are different than the ones that you have, or that any of the listeners that are here today. It begins to awaken those gifts, whatever they are. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to pray for it or anything else. It's just a natural part of remembering and beginning the process of awakening to who you really are and always have been.
Right. So, the thing that I want to reassure people that the work that I've done with you, I haven't had ascension flu afterwards. It seems that it's very kind and loving, like it's a wave of energy that bathes you, but it doesn't force you. Like some people you work with, you really get blasted, and so with the highs come a low. This was like a wave. It was gentle. It was powerful, but gentle on your system, so it didn't affect me. I could function.
Well, I can't speak to that, Kathy, because it's unique. It's unique for each of us.
Oh,
And I get flattened. Absolutely. If people ask me, do you get flattened? The word is absolutely I get flattened. We're in a very amplified time frame, and it's becoming more and more amplified all the time. And there are people that come to the classes that experience that, because literally everything that we think about who we are is all of our individual or familial or national or cultural, whatever conditioning you want to think about, those are just artificial overlays. They're just layers that are on top of who we really are.
right.
And when the energy really begins to flow through you, what happens is it begins to challenge you. It begins to challenge all of those places, begins to challenge every belief that you have. Because whatever you believe, that's what's true.
Right.
But the truth of who you are is beyond all of that.
Right.
And so I don't want people to think that by you saying what you said and what your experience is, that they're never going to experience amplified intensity or challenges.
Well,
We are all challenged.
well, this is what I meant to say. Thank you for refining what I said. Some of the healing processes actually affect me. When I did the first meditation, I went out and sat on my deck for 5 hours. It was like I was rearranging the file folders in my essence, where they were, opening a drawer, take this one out, put that away. But it wasn't like it was physiological, where the ascension flu I'm talking about is where people feel like they have a cold. And they, I don't know if you've heard of that. I didn't experience that at all.
I've experienced it on many occasions for a decade and a half. So it's not a problem. I just don't want people to think that they'll never experience being challenged in their personal life. Because everything that we carry in us, I don't care what it is, everything that we carry in us cellularly will eventually come up to be released.
Well, what I'm excited about with this work that I've seen so far is that it seemed to unlock and release blocks, so I had more energy to do. I believe we're here to co-create with the universe, and this work seemed like it created an extra reservoir of energy for me to do that, clarity of thought and energy that I could focus, because the chaos around us in the field is getting more and more amplified. And so, and being highly sensitive, oh boy. So do you find that too, that people say that they do more of their life mission work after working with you?
I would say that people come to the understanding of a greater depth of understanding of who they are. And within that, as you come to really know who you are, what you do, what your gifts are, what you have to bring and share with everybody else that's here, it begins to come to the surface. If that prompts you to inspired service or inspired action, to do something, like if you're an environmentalist or whatever it might be, if you feel called to do that, then it bubbles up from the inside and it surfaces. If you're reacting to what is going on outside, all you're doing is feeding energy into an old system that is rapidly collapsing.
Right, right. Well, so the reason why I mentioned that is I'm I'm lucky that I get to play on a different level with a lot of different groups. And we just did, with my friends from Co-Creators Convergence, we just did World Unity Week last week, where I led 4 panels. And people were going, how do you do all that and all your work? And it was like, it was play. So
it's play.
It's play. So that's where it's a different, it's not just a reframe. You actually have more of your guidance of what you're here for and how you can utilize it without, it seems like all the chatter and the anxiety, wasted energy on any anxiety or self-talk where there's 2 beings talking to each other. Shoulder, if you know what I mean, where it's like, you should do it, no you shouldn't, that kind of thing. All of that's gone from even the first meditation for me.
I would say that's fabulous, Kathy, and I would say yes, that's a natural byproduct of it. It doesn't matter what it is, inside every single moment, inside every action, inside every thought, there is a stillness. And it is that stillness that everything emanates from. It's that stillness that initiates a motion. It's that stillness that begins the process of creation from us as it flows out. And it's an absolutely amazing, beautiful space to be able to live in. Things don't bother you the same way that they may have used to.
Yeah, I find that I say this a lot, the truth will be revealed, and someone will say, well, don't you want to make sure that your side of the story is seen? And it's like, no, because the truth is always revealed. For me, that's one of my axioms that I use for life. So truth and God and soul and source, all of those things all are. They aren't the big R.
True.
Right?
True.
So tell me what you think is this. There's like a momentum for humanity to wake up, and you have been working. How long have you been working with the Eden template that has prepared you to do this work now?
I shared the template the first time, and let me qualify. I no longer think of myself as someone that teaches something. I just share. I share what I know. To imply to think of the fact that there is a teacher and a student implies that there's some kind of difference or separation, which is an artificial construct, and I don't feel that anymore. I used to, not anymore. So I shared the template for the very first time with others on October 4th in 2019. So it's been less than 2 years that I've actually been sharing the meditations itself. And of course, it is, as you know, it's expanded way beyond anything that I thought it could be. Or it would be. I thought it was just the one activation, and then more came. So Who knows what it will be next week or next month.
It's perfect. And the teacher is really the student anyway. So that's, in my experience, I've been doing what I do for 21 years, and I still learn with every single client. So
as they say, as has been said, if somebody teaches somebody something, two people learn.
it's perfect. It's perfect.
It never stops. So that's why I say there's no teacher-student dynamic going on anymore.
Yeah, and you guys, this is, as you can feel, if you're sensitive like I am, you can feel the resonance in David's voice, which is almost an indicator if this is a path that you are drawn to take, that this would be a grand adventure for you to reconnect to who you really are. And the first time I heard David's voice, I heard an interview with you and Sanine Moliard, and I could not stop crying. I cried almost the whole interview. It was as though, oh my God, I found it. Because I had been asking to hold more light in this physical vehicle, and I didn't know how I was going to do that. And so your work is allowing me to hold more of who, the light that I am, which is so much more than this little itty bitty body. That's so, I was so excited when I heard your voice and knew that you were a path to me reconnecting to my bigger self.
And I would stress that when you say the light that I am, you really mean your I am presence.
Exactly. Well, I had a spiritual transformative experience almost 17 years ago, and where I saw myself as this body was like an ant in a spotlight, a giant spotlight coming off a source. It was almost like a river, and this was a tributary, but kind of manifested as a spotlight. And this body was this teeny weeny little ant in it. And I came back going, okay, this will work for this time. I was like, yeah, I'll use this skin suit. But then every day since then, I've been asking, how do I hold more of that into this? Because I think that's one of the things that I decided to do before I came into physical. So that's why I was so excited when I came across your work.
So not to wax physics, but your body is a holographic projection of your consciousness.
Right.
And at the same time, we're here in a body. So if you think of all of the energies that comprise who we are, we're a physical body. We have a vessel here. We also have an emotional body and a mental body, and an untold number of energy fields that surround us and connect to higher planes in higher dimensions, higher frequencies. And there's no separation between them. The body is a continuum of all of those energies. It just happens to be the densest one, but there's no separation in it.
Right.
And everything else, there's a direct connection from your soul to your physical body.
Right.
And it's palpable. It's palpable. You can feel it. And as you continue to do the work, and sorry, I keep attempting to adjust the light so it doesn't look like I'm in shadows. I don't know what I can do.
No, it looks okay. It looks okay.
So, as you work on with cleansing yourself and releasing distortions from all of your various bodies, the frequency of your physical vessel of the body raises and the body begins to ascend. And as that happens, your soul can now come into the body. So the soul descends into it, and literally you become an embodied being. You become an embodied master. And that is what is present and available to everybody. There is nobody that this is not available to.
Right. It's perfect. It's perfect.
The only thing going on is that if there's work to be done, you need to do the work.
Right.
And that includes the shadow work, of course. So, and my lighting puts me in shadow. So there's definitely shadow work that we all have to do. Some of it is very personal, just for us. Some of it is, sometimes we do shadow work in the collective.
Collective, yeah. I think I want to ask, and I've never asked this to you before, I am really interested in the UFO phenomenon and ETs, and there's supposed to be a big disclosure this week, or it was supposed to be by the end of the month. And I was on a call, actually, I was on the replay of a call that Grant Cameron, who is somebody I've had dinner with before, scheduled. I think there was about 100 people on this Zoom call, and they all had been contactees and remembered and were speaking out. What do you see? Do you see the ET? Your connection was you got the spiritual download in Kenya. Were activated. Was that ET? Was that extraterrestrial? Was that origin of the Earth? And how do you see that with all this disclosure happening?
So I have a slightly different viewpoint maybe than some people. So disclosure for me, and so it's possible that something will be disclosed this week, and that's the disclosure du jour, if you will, of the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Disclosure happens here. Disclosure happens inside. So our star families, of which there's incredible amount, and they're all here to support us, but they cannot. They're not able to interfere. We are the ones that will make contact, and it happens from the inside. If you're looking for things to be, like if you're looking for the government to disclose that ETs are here, and all of a sudden everything's going to change, you're looking outside, and if your focus is outside, as has been said many times, those that look out sleep, and those that look in awaken and remember. So I would say disclosure always happens in the heart first.
Okay.
Because until you make that connection with them, no matter where they're from, what star system or galaxy or dimension or universe, it doesn't matter. We are the ones that make contact from the inside.
Right.
And as enough of us do that, things even as it gets really dicey when you start talking about outer revelations, because the outside is going through a massive choice point.
Right.
Everybody is having to choose. So here in America, we're in our Pluto return, which means that everything, all of the subconscious crud, the sticky, gooey stuff that is the entire country from the moment it began, it's all coming up to be able to look at, and choices have to be made. And based upon those choices, that determines how we will move forward as people, as a country. And right now, as you know, we're split right down the middle.
Yeah, polarity.
So whether there is an outer revealing of contact, I don't know.
Well,
I have no idea. The transmission that I receive is not from this universe. And remember, there's not just one universe. There's a vast multiverse. There are trillions of universes, and there are also multiple multiverses that also contain universes. Creation is way vaster than what the human mind is able to contain.
This is still, even just talking about our universe is almost mind-blowing, trying to to access it or understand, so that you can play in the game. I mean, we're here to be on the cutting edge of creation, I believe. That's why we embody. And so the whole idea of us being able to play at a high level means that we're more self-actualized. I don't know if we ever get totally self-actualized in this lifetime, in our human form, but we're more self-actualized. Is that the way you look at it too?
I have no idea if there is or not. So from my knowingness, the word that we call enlightenment is just a little tiny dot on a vast, endless, eternal journey. So what happens? I don't know. What I know, what I really know is this moment, but mostly what I know is that I don't know, and I'm on a need to know basis, and apparently I don't need to know. If I need to know something, it will present itself.
But you do feel like you're on assignment, right?
There is work that I'm here to do, and part of that work is to share what comes through me. I know that the form of it is going to change over time. I'm just barely beginning in terms of the work of doing the work itself. It's just barely in its initial germination stage, if you will. No blame or no criticism or anything on that order, but I'm not very well known. Not a lot of people know who I am. And if you look at the vast number of really beautiful, incredibly talented teachers that are out there, I'm just a little itty bitty blip on a vast screen. And that's okay. It's where it is. It's what it is. I'm not necessarily concerned about numbers. I'm definitely not concerned about being recognized. However, the teachings, the sharings, that's a whole different story.
Right.
Those I definitely want to see disseminated in a much wider field.
Yes, and I want to help. I want to help.
It's absolutely not about me.
Right. Okay. So, but do you feel that there's, or have you had any indication that there's a tipping point, that there's a certain number of people, of the humans, that need to be activated in order for us to be able to access more of the light here?
I don't know what that point is, but there is such a thing as critical mass, and the Chinese describe critical mass as both opportunity and danger, because it's unknown how it's going to flip. If you look at traditional marketing, like if a company has a new product that they want to introduce into a city, say Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that product is, they don't set out to do marketing to get material in front of every single person in the city.
Right.
They look at because historically they know that if around 12% of the population have an awareness and an understanding of a particular product that they're trying to market, all of a sudden everybody knows about it.
Right.
And then that's critical mass, and that's because we're not isolated. We are in a quantum field, and that field, every single person has access to that field. So you don't. Each one of us is very important in the shift, and what that's going to look like, I have no idea, none whatsoever. There are so many possibilities that are out there. in terms of what it might be, all the way including that those that refuse to accept this new light that is coming in, and we all know how incredibly amplified and strong it is right now. Those that refuse to want to open up and remember who they are, well, maybe they stay on the current version of Earth, and Earth bifurcates. Gaia is ascending. That's it. It's already happened.
Right.
So will there be a bifurcation to where there's multiple versions of Gaia? And those that want to stay here, because this is school. This is, and if some people want to be held back in the third grade, there's nothing that any of us can do to prevent that from happening. But nobody's going to be left behind. How is that? That's just not possible. It's not possible that anybody could be left behind, because we are all one being. We are all the Creator. The Creator's not going to let that happen. It's not possible.
Right. Right.
So well, I'm beginning to ramble. So.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so I want to share something that I don't think I've shared with you yet, that I was so excited to hear, because your work and some of the other people I've studied with, I did all the way through Wizards with Avatar. So I've been on this journey a long time, and I've been wondering how people were going to open up, and how, we're saying that there's photonic light from the great central sun hitting us now, and that's going to elevate us. And I don't really like the idea of one big splash of light like the rapture storyline, because I'm not sure that's the way it's going to happen. But I was on a call for IANS, which is the International Association for Near-Death Studies, and Reverend Peter Panagore was on, and he's a mystical, he's had several near-death experiences, and he has a thing every Sunday called Unchurch, because he wants the mystical version, but you don't have to go through anybody to have your connection, which is exactly what you're doing. What he said, which I thought was fascinating, and he actually texted me the resource of it. He said that for the past 40 years, there have been the standard process in all the hospitals is to bring people back from death, to resuscitate. And that his premise, and he said there's between 5 and 10% of the population that has had mystical experiences that they may not totally remember. Or they may have, their logical mind had said that was drugs or that was a dream. But once they've had that connection to all that is by themselves, they're ready to pop. And he said that that's going to be, that's the awakening of humanity, that there's going to be some way that those people will remember. And then all of a sudden, you already have, I don't know what the percentage is now, plus those people that have had mystical experiences, and then they are the tipping point.
So,
what do you think about that?
Those are all wonderful, and those are all happening. The tipping point that you're referring to is that this is the moment, and everybody knows that this is the moment that everybody has been waiting for. It's been prophesized forever. This is the moment of Armageddon, which is not what people believe it. Armageddon is a lifting of the veil. That's what the word tip has always meant, is that you begin to see. And the real force that is going here is, I don't care who you are. I don't care how difficult your life has been. I don't care how broken you feel that you are. I don't care what crimes you have committed against humanity or anything else. There will come a moment. There will come a moment in everybody's life when grace comes into you and it opens your heart. It softens everything. And when that happens, your entire world turns upside down. Everything changes because you know that you are connected to all.
Perfect.
And that you are everything. And it's not possible to harm another person in any way, shape, or form. It's because you're harming yourself. Those ways of being, they just disappear. And we've all heard stories of people who have had sudden moments of that grace, and in a blink of an eye, their lives are changed completely, and they are not the same people.
Right.
And that's if there is a mechanism that I like to talk about this will happen. That's the mechanism I like to talk about. I don't feel that there's going to be this big cosmic flash. Again, I think that if there is a flash, it's here. It's internal. It happens. It happens uniquely with each individual, and the beauty of grace coming into you is that once that happens, it begins to integrate and embody into your cells. And without you doing anything, you don't have to talk, you don't have to do anything. You become a vehicle for the emanation of grace to everything around you, whether that's the land, the animals, the plants, the water, the air, or the people that you meet. It doesn't matter. You become a vessel for grace to flow through.
Perfect. Thank you. That was a great answer. Thank you. So David Starr has a question for you. When David went to Africa and met the seer, he mentioned the lightning ray. Does David resonate with the lightning ray himself?
Well, I was struck. The energetic activation that I was given was like being struck by lightning 5 or 6 times, David. So thank you for your question. I don't know that I resonate with the lightning ray per se. What it did was that it even though it was really intense as the introduction of extremely amplified energy, its very essence is that it was grace. Its very essence was it was grace. Even though it was extremely amplified, it was also very gentle and very, very peaceful at the same time. I know that sounds like a contradiction. So when I returned from Africa, I spent 3 months just sitting in my house, looking out the window. And that was as much as I could do. And the entire time there was this integration going on as all of my neural circuitry was changed. Everything was reorganized. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Well, I think that's what I was trying to talk about earlier, was that this energy is peaceful. It's not violent. That's what I was trying to say.
No.
Peaceful and loving and orderly, kind of like it. That's why I also said the file folders. It kind of felt like I was being put in order, divine order or something.
You're being realigned internally, and it is so gentle. It is so gentle. That does not mean that it's not amplified.
Right.
I'm hesitant to use the word intense because intensity is only experienced when we think it's intense, but when we just relax with the energy flow, whatever it is, then we're just in the flow with it. We don't experience it as an intensity, as an amplification. Oh yes, most definitely. Beyond 100%, beyond 1,000%, it just continues to amplify.
Well, and I think that's why David Starr has a app called Divine Ray. So he's actually on the same page, and he's allowed himself to experience and reach out to more, which is really the person I see that will benefit the most from your work is not necessarily a beginner on their path. They're the people that are ready to take it to the next level, and they are ready to really enjoy this experience, because the other way of living in this environment isn't as clear. It's chaotic. That's the word I can use.
Well,
Do you
I would
agree?
say if you resonate with the energy, if you resonate with the words that I'm saying, if you resonate with how it feels inside of you, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a very advanced and experienced practitioner on the path. It doesn't matter. If you resonate with it, you're ready for it.
Right. Right.
That's it. That's the only marker that you need to pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm just assuming that the lighthouses, it's like you're gonna
I
pop.
mean, if and when you are ready, there will be a guide, whether it's me or somebody else. There will be a guide that is there to help assist you in terms of helping you stabilize in those new energies.
Right. And
It literally doesn't. It literally doesn't matter if it's me or if it's somebody else. Just know that, and it doesn't actually have to be a physical person. It can be somebody that's disembodied, that's not in the physical.
so I want to ask another question. David brought up your activation that you had in Kenya, and I don't know if everyone knows about that, but you were basically downloaded this Eden template, and how does when you represent it, a lot of times you represent it as a diamond. How does it work with representing it as a diamond to you?
Well, what I see, and this is just what I see, is that and a diamond is another word that you can use for a star. Is that when it's awakened and the energy channel is open, that there is a small, impossibly small, but also impossibly bright star at the base of your spine. And that star is directly connected to your soul and to source. It is the place where the original blueprint of your soul, when it was first created, enters into. And there is that direct connection to source, to God, to the creator. And there are no intermediaries that are required, nor necessary, nor needed. You are self-sourcing. Everybody is, whether they realize it or not. You can take that and give it away if you want to somebody else. And for whatever reason you do, whether you think that you're not worthy or it's too much or whatever, and you want to give it to another authority to be able to manage it for you, or you can claim it. You can claim it for yourself.
So is that what you mean? Religion has been the other authority that we have used.
If we look outside of ourselves, we tend to sleep. When we go in, we remember and we awaken. And most people do not want to go in. That's not always easy work. Most people get really scared when fear comes up when they start looking at themselves. And it's so not necessary. The fear is just another cosmic joke of an illusion that is standing between us and the memory of who we are.
Yes. How can we be afraid of all that is?
And when you understand that you are everything, if you're experiencing, I'm not talking about real fear. I'm not talking about your life is in danger somehow, or is threatened. Something on that. Real fear is necessary. Like if you're going to be in an accident, or you see a very threatening situation evolving in front of you, or you're in an abusive relationship, whatever it might be, you need that fear to surface to be able to help you get out of it.
Right.
And that fear you never want to throw away. But the fear that is put on us through our familial lines, the families that we're born into, which is not just our parents, it's our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, great-great-great-great. It's our lineage going, the familial lineage going back, and that's all energetically, collectively overlaid on us. And then there's also the culture that we're in, or the country that we're in terms of nationalism. There's all kinds of boogies that go on. If you join a religion, one of the first things that you discover is that you're saved and everybody else isn't. So you learn who the enemy is.
Right.
You learn that there is another, and there are no others.
Right.
So
right.
I'm talking about when you let go, when you remove the artificial layers of fear, the constructs of fear that are put over on us as layers. When those come off, it's wonderful to see how people begin to bloom and blossom.
That's so cool. Yeah, and that's what I think is the what we're starting to feel that's happening. You can almost feel this excitement in the field about it, that something's being birthed, this new human, new way of being. Right? Doesn't it feel that way to you?
Everything is just barely coming. It's just barely starting. So remember, in terms of the entire population of the planet, everybody is in the same energies that we know are very amplified coming in. And if you don't know what those are, if you don't understand what they are, or if you have a belief system that doesn't give you any kind of groundwork or framework to be able to relax in them, it's pushing everybody. It's pushing everybody to their edge, and probably quite a bit beyond their edge. So it's literally affecting everybody. And many of us, as we came through the familial lines that we did, they weren't fun. They weren't really nice and sweet and peaceful. But as we come through and we remember who we are and we heal ourselves, it just instills this deep compassion in us for everybody, no matter what their circumstances is.
Right.
And you've heard me say this on multiple occasions, that no matter how broken you think you are, you're not. There is nobody that's broken.
Right.
Because once you take those layers off, those literally artificial layers off of you, and you begin to cleanse yourself, to heal yourself of the distortion energies that are stored in your cells, you remember who you are. And I can promise you, who you are is magnificent beyond understanding. Who you are is just incredible.
It's so beautiful. Okay, so one more question, and then we'll talk about the Eden Template course. My next question is about self-love. Are you seeing the results of taking your classes or doing your meditation as a heightened awareness of self-love?
It's a part of the process. So the more that you love yourself, the easier it is. Because really and truly, if you don't love yourself, then you're causing a split inside of yourself.
Right.
Every single person on this planet, every single person in this solar system, galaxy, dimension, universe, multiverse, is the divine. There has never been a single moment that any of us have ever been separated. Ever. Not even a trillionth of a billionth of a second have we been separate from Source. This is a journey that we've all been on. We left Source and we went out and had phenomenal lifetime experiences, and now we're returning to the awareness that that's who we are. We're ready to be able to take that step. So nobody has ever been separate. You are the very essence of the divine love that is the creator. That is who you are. And you cannot, you can't, you can force yourself to separate it and say that that's not you, but that's who you really are.
Right.
And so as the template begins to work with you, as the energy begins to flow through you and you integrate it and become it, it aligns, as I mentioned earlier, it aligns your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And that line becomes finer and finer and finer and finer until it's so fine that if you think about a subatomic particle like an electron, take an electron and take a line that's a trillionth of that in diameter, that's still too big. It needs to be, it aligns even finer. It brings you into perfect alignment with Source and who you are. And it aligns all of your bodies to where you're consistent. You're clean all the way through. And that is the very essence of love. And so, yes, it brings the self-love, because if we don't love ourselves, there's no way that you can truly begin to understand what it's like to experience the love of the divine, living in you as you.
Wow. So I thought I'd bring that up because I think that's a direct benefit of the work that you do. Is I've seen that as well, and I think others would say that too. Although you guys, one of the things that you'll really enjoy about David is he doesn't, like some of the people I work with, he doesn't claim anything. He asks for the testimonials to tell him what the benefit was to the participant, rather than him trying to overlay, because everybody's journey is so different. But there's lots of wonderful surprises and gifts available, right?
And yes, I do get to use people's writings as testimonials. That's just a given. But I don't ask for them for the reason of receiving a testimonial. I ask people to do that, to write to me how they are changed, how they are different. And because I know that if they can verbalize it, then they begin to understand at a deeper level what is going on, how different they are, how they are changed. That's why I ask for them. Yes, I get to use them as testimonials, and they're wonderful, and I do use them shamelessly. There's no problem with that. However, the understanding of the reason behind it is to help each person really begin to consolidate inside them. How am I different? What happened here? How have I changed?
Right. Perfect. Well, so I guess I'm wanting now to talk about the Eden template, and the class that's coming up July 10th, that I'm in. I'm definitely in. So you guys come and play with me and David. It's called Freedom from the Known, and I'm streaming the URL at the bottom of the screen. I'll also put it in the information. It's the edentemplate.com/freedom-from-the-known .html. So he's not on WordPress. So David, could you explain a little bit about, we've got about 6 minutes. Could you explain a little bit about this course so more people will join us?
So Freedom from the Known is a 9-week shamanic journey. And sorry, I'm a little stiff here. It is a journey of activating, awakening, cleansing, and acting. It's kind of like a sine wave. You know, sometimes you're above the horizon, sometimes you're below it. So we activate, raise our frequency, and then we do a cleansing. In the next week, we do an activation and a cleansing, and eventually going through to where we begin to, at a very deep level, begin to open up the the neural pathways inside each one of us that for a lot of us have been dormant for a very long time.
Mhm.
And it's not that they're new; they're just dormant. And as you continue to awaken them, they begin to expand. More energy flows through you, more connections to who you are as your greater self. And I'm now. It's interesting because I used to believe that there was a sequence, and the course will be taught in a sequence, and you could say that that's lineal. But it really and truly, as people here on the planet, we've shifted enough that although you can't see them as being available yet, it will come soon. That I'm going to begin to offer them as individual classes, and like any shamanic journey, it's not a lineal process. So you can take all of the classes if you want, throw them up in the air, and then let them fall and pick the one that you want to participate in. So on a shamanic journey, the very last step may be the first thing that happens. Like Saul in the Old Testament, you may be riding a horse across the desert, and God literally comes down, strikes you with lightning, throws you off your horse, and then the last step may be the first one, where you begin to figure out, what you're going to do. There's no sequence or rhyme or reason to the order. It happens differently for every single person. I've been experienced that with some of the people that have recently come to me, and it's just thrown in any concept of, well, it doesn't matter. Just let people pick and choose like a parfait. Everybody intuitively knows. But the Freedom from the Known course is fairly quote unquote organized. There is a progression to it. It's not necessarily linear. It is definitely quantum. It's definitely very expansive, but it will take you through a journey that opens up who you are inside, allowing your awareness to who you are to expand. And the last class is a direct journey to and emerging with Source, as each person is available to do it. I literally cannot take anybody into those final realms. I can guide people, and I can help you walk right up to the very edge. You are the one that has to go through. My work as a guide stops there.
Well, what's interesting is you see the trend is using ayahuasca and plant medicine to make these kind of journeys, the shamanic journey, assisted shamanic journey. But what David's offering is something that it's palpable and doesn't require you being altered. You'll be, because your perspective will be changed, that will alter you. It's almost like there's a void that's created when the distortion comes out, and then it's reintegrated. But there isn't a need to be on drugs to do this.
There's nothing wrong with using plant medicine if that's where you are and that's what you feel. Just please understand that what you're really doing when you use them, whether it's ayahuasca or mushrooms or peyote or anything else, is that you're journeying to the realm of that particular plant. You're journeying to their spiritual realm, and there's a much vaster field that is available to be able to play in. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment around it at all. And historically, it has been a way that people have used to jumpstart, quote unquote, their awakening, because it does definitely take you outside of your perception. Don't misunderstand that. I did a lot of drugs when I was a younger person, and I enjoyed it immensely and actually loved it a lot. But no, your physical body you are capable of producing pharmacology that is so far beyond anything that you can experience in plant medicine or, say, taking LSD or anything else. Everything else pales in comparison. Not that there is a comparison, it's all just a journey.
That's fantastic.
And if I can comment on the class,
Yes, please.
I'm almost embarrassed because this is kind of, we did do another we did share with each other a little while ago, but the early bird registration expires in 2 days on July 1st.
Okay.
So that's a difference of, because it's the energy exchange right now is $555. On July 2nd, it'll be $777. So the class itself includes a one-on-one session. Everybody that comes gets a one-on-one session. The exchange that I ask for those is $222. So you're really paying $333 for 9 weeks of activation and growth, which I can promise the next time I offer the class, it's probably going to be more expensive. This is an immense amount of work, both for me and for everybody that comes to attend. And don't misunderstand me. It's not like, oh dear God, I've got to do this work. No, it's very joyous. I love to do this. It is so fun.
Well, the audio is shooting back on yours. Do you know?
I can hear a little bit of feedback, yeah.
Yeah, so, well, I'm going to wrap it up since we're feedbacking. But thank you so much. This was a wonderful conversation, a different one than we've had before. Thank you so much.
They're always different, Kathy, because they're always in the moment. It's never going to be the same. So
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is such a privilege and a blessing to be here. And I really appreciate it. And thank you to all of you that are here watching it, not only now watching it live, but that will watch the video later on as it gets posted to Facebook and gets shared. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me, even if you have no plans to come to the Freedom from the Known class. Come to my website, fill out the contact form, and ask me a question. Sign up for the email list so that I can email you when new classes become available. That's always a good thing.
Well, I really want people to come and play with us. So I'm hoping that, I'm being selfish. I would hope that people will join us in July and get this party started.
Absolutely. I'm hoping for, if hope is possible, I'm hoping for 30 to 35 people, because
Wow.
the more people that there are, the bigger the energy field that we form as a group together, and therefore the more energy we have to be able to play with. It gets really fun. It's really fun, Kathy.
Well, thank you so much, David. And again, I'll put all the links in the comment section or in the description, so you guys can check out the link. But if you're called to do this, this is the perfect time. This could be the difference in the rest of your 2021. Going through this process could be the next level of you being available to you to play.
And I would say if you resonate with this, then I really, really look forward to sharing with you.
Yes. Okay, well, we're signing off now. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.